Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll learn about a different scenario. Okay, let me explain the scenario through an image. Okay, let me go. Yeah, so we can see the scenario where we are going to create a submission. Okay, and then we are going to create one renewal which we will be issuing it. That means it will go to the bound status. Then we'll create a policy change on the submission. Okay, so we have a submission and then we performed renewal and that renewal is in the bound status. Then we'll perform policy change on the submission and we'll see how it will get impact on the renewal. So same, so this is our thumbnail also. We will create a submission and then we will issue a renewal. Then we will perform policy change on top of submission. Then we'll see how does it impacts on your bound renewal. Yeah, let me go to policy center and log in. As we know, SU and GW. Go to the policy. I'll take a copy submission. Okay, let me see vehicles, how many we have. Yeah, I have two vehicles and what I'm doing, I'm quoting the policy. Yeah, it's done. Then issuing it. Yeah, step number one. Yes, we are done. We created a submission. Then let's go and perform renewal. Renew the policy. Yes, workflow is running. Yeah, renewal isn't renewing. That means no issues in our policy. What I will do, I'll do manual issuance. Let me edit the policy. Done. Code the policy. Done and issue it. Then done. What we have done, we created a submission, we issued it, and then we performed a renewal. It was in renewing status. What we did, we edited the policy, quoted it, and issued it. Let's go to our thumbnail once. So we created a submission, then we performed renewal. Now what we will do, we will create a policy change on top of submission, and we'll see how does it impacts on the renewal. So submission is 619, renewal is 1219. We'll perform in submission term. So approximately 819 will take a policy change effective date. So let me perform a policy change. So 819, that means August 19th. Yeah, perfect. Next, then I'll go to the vehicles. What I'll do, I'll create one more vehicle. So for this, I will use random VIN number, copied it, and done, pasted. So around $2,000 cost new, and my policy is Georgia. I'll go with Georgia. Then person, then primary driver. Yes, let me quote the policy. Yes, quoted. Then I'm issuing the policy. Done. We issued the policy and we can see there is a later bound period. That means there is one bound period exist in future. Start a policy transaction to apply this policy change. So as we added one vehicle, they are asking you can click on this one so that one new policy change will trigger. So let me click on this one. So in this scenario, we'll click on this one and we'll perform one more transaction. Let's see how it applies when we click on viewer policy. So I'm clicking on it. Yes, if we click on it, there is an automated policy which is effective from 12/19. That means this renewal effective date. That means this policy change automatically created on our term number 2. That means this is effective from our renewal. As we issued one policy change during submission term, right? It is automatically applying the changes with effective from the renewal effective date. If I go to vehicles now, see, we can see third vehicle as well, whatever we added, 80025. Yeah, 80025. I'm referring here the ending numbers. Same here also 80025. The same vehicle got ordered automatically, but you have to do manual apply. Let me quote the policy. What happens if we will not quote and do this transaction? Then your changes will not be applicable for your renewal transaction. Okay, let me withdraw. No need withdraw. So it's all about the end user thing, whether they can issue the policy change or else withdraw the policy. Usually in real time, the client will ask, they will ask you to create an automated policy change as soon as we issue a pre-term policy change. Now we'll see the, let me issue it. Yeah, we'll perform one more policy change in the pre-term. That means on the submission. So earlier it was 819, right? We'll create from 820 change policy 820. Yeah, next. And what we'll do, I'll remove the vehicle. Let's see what happens. I'm quoting the policy. Okay, we got invalid quote. Let's go and see our log once. There is an issue with the cost merge. So other cost must be later than this cost. The cost expires at 2026 820, but the other argument is effective as of 819. So evaluation exception. We got one exception, guys. So what I will do as of now, we'll ignore this invalid quote issue. So we'll resolve this issue definitely, but not in this video. We'll resolve it in other video. What I'll do, I'll add one more vehicle, okay, instead of removing it. So as we got already invalid quote, I'll withdraw this policy change. I'll perform one more policy change, same effective from 820. Okay, click on next. Vehicles. I'll add one more now. Okay, let's take one more VIN number. So 345. Then I'll go with 3000. Then same Georgia. Where is Georgia? Yeah. Then we'll add primary driver to our vehicle. Then code the policy. Yeah, this is our customized validation, so please ignore it. Yeah, and then I'm issuing the policy. Same, it's a prior time only. So in this case, now I'll click on view your policy. I'll not click the first link. Instead of that, I'll click on view your policy. See what happens. When we click on our view your policy, right, there is no an automated policy change which is created on renewal. So let's go to this 820 transaction. This is the one which we created just now. Let me go here. Yeah, we can see one button, apply change to renewal. What happens if we click? Yeah, okay, it created one policy change effective from 12/19. That means effective from our renewal. See, this policy change is created on term number 2. Let me go to the vehicles. We can see fourth vehicle is present. Let's code the policy and issue it. So this is how it will be on the impact. So let's go to here once. When we create a submission, if the renewal is already bound, if you perform any policy change on top of submission, and then you will see one link by saying whether the changes can be applied to the future bound renewal. If you click on that link, then automatically one policy change will create effective from the renewal. Okay. If you will not click, you will not get any policy change. But if you go to issued policy change in the submission, right, you can see a button called apply changes to renewal. If you click on that button, then automatically one policy change will create. So now the policy change already created, right, and we issued it also. If I go back here 820, we will not see that apply changes to renewal because this branch changes are already applied to your renewal transaction. So let's suppose this is the case now. So this is manual effort what we are doing. If client asks, you performed one policy change in the pre-atom, that means submission, then you need to create a policy change automatically, quote it and issue it. What you need to do in that case? So for this, I'll explain you the code from where you can start debugging. For any transaction, if you take a submission, if you take policy change, cancellation, reinstatement, renewal, everything, right, will have that respective class, job process class. Okay. In this case, we are talking about policy change. So go to policy change process. Okay. Here you can search one thing called apply changes to, yes, we can see future bound renewal. So apply changes to future bound renewal. If this will return true, then you need to apply the changes to future bound renewal. So this method you need to call as soon as you issue the policy change. So I already made changes and I tested also. What we need to do, okay, this is the bind method in the policy change process. Here we are completing the bind. After completing the bind, right, so I added false, right, let me remove it. Okay, compile it, recompile. So you can see, can apply changes to future renewal, then apply changes to your future bound renewal, then automatically a policy change will get created, whatever we are seeing, right, on click of that button or else on click of that link. What is happening, automatically one policy change is getting created with the effective from what we can see, with the effective from the renewal effective date, the same thing will happen. So we can see 9 classes are reloaded. Let me go to policy. I'll take a copy submission. Okay, this will be a straightforward submission and we'll issue a policy change. Sorry, not policy change, renewal. Then we'll perform a policy change on the pre-atom. It's taking much more time. Okay, okay. It should not yet. It is assigning unrated through round robin. Okay, quoting the policy. So actually my laptop got resetted. That's why there were no videos from the couple of weeks. Even this is the new database. Now I'm running with HTTP only. Not I'm going with the SQL also. So laptop became very slow. I don't know the reason. So renewing it. Yeah, renewal new status. Yeah, it isn't renewing. I'm editing it. Quote. Done. Then issue. Done. Then we'll perform a policy change in the period term. Same we'll go with the 819 as an example as we have taken in the previous example. Next, let me add the same VIN number, vehicles, create vehicle, done. Let me go with 2000 and then Georgia, and then test person, primary, quoting it. And yeah, let it quote and I'm issuing it. Let's see what happens. See, now we are not seeing that apply the changes to future bound renewal also, because if you go to the policy, there is already policy change exist. Okay. If I go vehicles, see there is a policy change which got automatically created also. So this is how we can do our things. So if we see the policy change is created, can we see the description once? Okay, policy transactions. and the draft ones we don't see anything also. So what we can do, we can add one history event. So this one was created automatically. Okay, or else you can keep the description. So when we create any policy change, right, change policy, we can see description. This description you can keep. This policy change is creating automatically as that policy change is issued, like that we can keep all these things. Depends on the customer, right? We can do it. So now we can see whatever things, okay, it was in the draft, right? When we click on that button, so same draft is coming. If you want to quote, if you want to issue, so we'll see all these things in the next video, but quote and issue, there will be nothing here. So you need to call job process dot request quote. Once it is in the quote status, then just call issue job. It's very simple, but we'll see in the next videos. So this is how the impact will be if we want any customization like this, right? We need to do in the respective job process. So this is not only with the policy change, even same thing can go with the cancellation. If you go cancellation process, right? Same thing will be there. Cancellation process. Apply changes to, yeah, we can see future uh, renewal automatic, future bound renewal, okay, future unbound renewal. So this scenario I just want to talk. Now we saw that we issued renewal, okay, and we are performing a policy change in the previous term. What happens if we keep renewal either in draft, quoted, or else renewing status if we perform any policy changes or cancellation in the prior term? So then this thing will get invoked. Unbound renewal, unbound renewal. So if you cancel, obviously submission automatically policy. This is unbound renewal, right? So we are doing withdraw. We are withdrawing the open renewal transaction. In case of bound, right? Automatically one more bound, cancellation will get triggered. Even we can see. So create future job and creating one cancellation process. So these things you guys can explore from your end. So what is happening in case future term exists, okay? So in the next video, we'll see a policy change in case of unbound renewal exist. At the same time, this quote and issuance process also we'll see it, okay? Yeah, thank you for watching the video, guys. Let's meet in the next video.